bigger than black and white. It's a problem with the whole way of life. But we can't change overnight. But we gotta start somewhere.
Okay.
Do you get it or no?
No.
Oos, it is fight week. We have Deji, Wasabi, Kenny, Temperrr, and a bunch of other good fights, to be honest. But fight week content is pretty good. They got the face-off going on, and they have open workouts. But we're going to watch Deji's and Wasabi's face-off first, and then we're going to do Kenny's and Temperrr's. And I've seen the snippets on the Showstar stuff, and I'm looking forward to it. First off, I can't help but think, was this supposed to be Wade? Man, that's so unfortunate he's not able to make it. But I think the guy mediating right now was supposed to be Wade. And if so, that would have been sick if he was able to do that. But next one. Next one, bro.
I don't think you have.
What? Prepared?
Yeah.
I've been training every single day. I've been training before you even asked me to box you. I was training.
Okay, well, we'll see March 5th.
Yeah.
So one thing I do know is that Wasabi has been living with Noah Felder, who is a martial arts enthusiast, a high-level martial artist, and is in the acting scene and in the, stunt scene when it comes to martial arts in Hollywood. And so I know he's been surrounded by martial artists and he's been training for a while. So I think Wasabi, it's more like he's just itching to get out there. He hasn't had a fight. It's not about redemption for him. He's not, he has only been knocked out by Fusi. There was that, but that was such a long time ago. Good to see Deji calm and collective, and he's not, trying to put on a show. He seems super locked in.
I believe you might be better than Vinny.
Oh yeah.
But
You think? I think you would have. I think you beat Vinny pretty much, but the cardio, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, my cardio was terrible, I'll be honest.
How's it now? It's good.
Yeah.
How much did you weigh when you fought Vinny?
The tension in this room, it's very cringy and very awkward, because you're not getting a lot of questions from the mediator here, so they're allowing them just to talk back and forth. So when you're allowed to talk back and forth like that, you want to lead the conversation. You want to show that you're the more dominant person, but it can just be awkward at times.
93 kg.
Well, did anybody know that in pounds?
Like 210.
210 pounds? Yeah. What do you?
Whoa! So Deji was 210 pounds when he fought Vinny. That's big because Deji is not tall, so that's just a lot of water weight. That's just a lot of excess weight that he's carrying. That's rough.
Yeah. So.
So bad.
Let's go.
Alex, you've said in the build-up to this.
Both of these guys have such laid-back personalities. They seem like pretty nice guys, so they don't have a lot of fight experience, so it's tough to get any animosity from these guys.
Inevitably, I'm gonna win, but I think it's not gonna be easy. I think it's gonna be an exciting fight. I think the fans are gonna love it.
Alex seems to have like a realistic point of view on things. He's not someone who's just saying, I'm gonna win no matter what, or I'm gonna knock you out, I'm just gonna run right through you. He seems to have like a pretty good perspective on it, which can be good and bad, right? I think it can be bad if you expect it just to cruise through it and you kind of expect it to go one way, and Deji puts a lot of pressure on him. It can kind of throw caution to the wind and mess up your game plan. But I think most times it's best to have like a good perspective, because then you won't be surprised when you're in there. You'll be ready for anything.
Oh, you mean cornering? Oh yeah, I've been cornering some pro fighters to get used to being in the environment and being in the corner and hearing the coach like yelling and seeing the pressure that they're going against. So yeah, I've been practicing that. Yeah.
That's actually pretty helpful. I've cornered fights and I've been in fights. Obviously, it's not the same, but being in the environment and being close to the ring, and the noise, and being close to someone who's going through those fight nerves instead of just sitting ringside, you kind of feel responsible when you're cornering. Obviously, Wasabi wasn't coaching, but when you're cornering someone, you feel responsible and you feel like you're out there with them, so to speak. So that can be very helpful.
I've been talking to a lot of people, sports psychologists, cornering people, trying to get prepared for that, because that's the only thing that you can't really get prepared for.
So Alex admits to seeing a sports psychologist. It's actually a very good idea. I wish I had done that for my first fight. I had learned a lot about the truth behind the physiology and what's actually happening in your body when you're going into that fight or flight mode and you're making the walk to a ring. There's a lot of science behind it, and when you know the science, it does make a big difference. I once saw something about excuse me. I once saw something about people who are learning to hold their breath underwater for a long period of time. And one of the issues is the anxiety that builds up when you feel like your body starts to convulse and you don't know what's happening. And that causes you to lose your breath more. And they showed in the study that just learning about what's happening to your body and that you're going to be okay, and that the convulsions or the compressions, the feeling in your chest is normal. Like when you understand what's actually happening, it makes it a lot easier to feel less anxious because you feel like you have an understanding. And that helped me a lot. The more educated I was about what was actually happening to my body, physically, the sensations, it made it a lot easier pre-fight. I do think the pressure is on the UK side. Having home court advantage, I think, is great in something like a basketball game or like in a football game, because like the momentum of the team and the chemistry, that all helps. But I think it can be tough when it comes to look at what I paused on for Alex's face, though. That's hilarious. That's a little bit better. I think the pressure can be a little too much, though, when it comes to fighting, because you want to impress everybody. And when you get hit, right, people can, the crowd may go silent or go, whoa, right? When you're winning, it does help, right? But when you're losing, it's going to be tough. I think, at least for me personally, the underdog approach for me has always been easier when it comes to fighting. Being the underdog, people doubting me, it's always been less nerve-wracking because you feel like there's just less pressure.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the facts. That's just what it seems like. If I switched camps because it was too easy, that means I wasn't going hard enough until my new camp, which was 5 weeks ago. So for the last 5 weeks, you've been going hard. But is that enough time?
I've been going hard since.
This is a good move by Wasabi. I mean, on these face-offs, I would assume your only goal is to try to put doubt into your opponent's mind. That's it. That should be the only goal. You try to size them up, sort of, but the goal should be, how can I put some doubt into my opponent so that when we make the walk and we get out there, that doubt will play in. Maybe he'll think, man, maybe if I train more, maybe I'm not ready, right? Those thoughts may come into play. So that's a good move by Wasabi.
Does that worry that, again, 6 weeks out from a fight, that's where your training camp was? Would you have preferred, in retrospect now, on fight week, that you'd been in the position you are now?
Side note, 5 weeks is a long time. I remember for one of my first MMA fights, actually the one that I had posted, the first MMA fight that I posted, I had done some real hard sparring like the week before, and it wasn't planned to go that way. It just happened, and I give so much credit to that one hard sparring round that I did, or that night. Did a couple rounds of different people, but that night, going through the intensity of that hard sparring with MMA gloves, no head guards, just Vaseline on your face, mouthpieces, it felt like it was the fight. That was so important to me. If I didn't have that one day, I felt like it would have really changed my performance come fight night. So even though it is 5 weeks, it doesn't matter. Some sessions, even individual sessions, can be invaluable. So 5 weeks is plenty of time.
I did want to win, but there was still doubt in my.
And speaking about that doubt comes from a lack of preparation. I know for me, when you don't feel as prepared as you should be, if you feel like you didn't do all of the work you should have to prepare, that's where the doubt comes from. But if you feel like you fully prepared and you've done everything you're supposed to do and you didn't cut corners, that's where confidence comes from. It doesn't come from just the fact that you just solely believe in yourself. It comes from putting in the work. So the fact that Deji put in the work, that's where his confidence comes from. So, and it's clear that he put in the work because he's confident, right? He's not dumb, right? Some people just have confidence regardless. Those people are not smart, right? They're ignorant. But Wasabi is confident because, I believe him when he says that he's put in the work.
No,
Really?
I'm not finding.
This is it?
If I lose, I'm not finding.
No way. Why? You did all the work.
That's more pressure on your
Yeah,
shoulders.
that's a lot of pressure.
Again, we're talking about.
Alex actually seems a little bit disappointed there. Like, oh no, buddy. But it kind of makes sense. He goes 0-3, and he loses. At least, as long as he has a good performance, he can say, boxing isn't for me. But I put in the work, and he can take this experience on to the next thing into his life. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's actually healthy for his ego. If you feel like you have to go out in there and win, if you lose some boxing matches, you lose some boxing matches. But if it helps you in the long run and it helps you with your life personally as a person, as a human being, all power to.
A percentage of your purse, or a lot
No,
of your...
all of it's going to my little brother's college. Yeah. He was kind of like a timid kid growing up, and I tried to get him out of his shell, and I had a big part of raising him growing up. So, like, everything I do is pretty much for him. So, all of my purse is going to his college fund. I want my brother to watch this and watch the fight and be like, wow, like I really can do anything and go to college like fully confident.
Deji, you've spoken in some of the content that's been...
That is big. Reason is because when you're fighting, competing, doing anything difficult for something outside of yourself, it does take off a lot of the pressure, allows you to hone in and focus and just kind of be in the moment. And Alex does seem like he's pretty in the moment. He's been smiling the whole time. He got that big cheesy smile. Not in a bad way, just he's cheesing all the time. But that does help when you feel like you're fighting for something bigger than you. The pressure does come off because the ego doesn't come into play negatively so much.
How much confidence did it fill you with when I think you sparred him recently,
Yeah.
and he very publicly said, wow.
First off, we need that footage at some point. That thing's gonna break the internet. We all want to see how that went down. Main takeaway: both super confident, both super prepared. Deji seems prepared. That's what we all want to know. That's what we wanted to see. Is Deji prepared? Has he put in the work? Yes. So hopefully he puts on a show. All right, let's get to Kenny and Temperrr.
But even when it comes to the promo, this is your own fight. You're a big CEO businessman and you're not willing to promote your own fight. It makes no sense.
No, it's not even that.
So what is it?
I meant to do the interview with Wade.
What happened?
I just didn't.
You didn't. You're in the same country, same time zone. 20 minutes of a whole day and you couldn't do the interview.
Not the same time zone, actually. I don't think Wade is out west. There's a 3-hour difference between East Coast and West Coast. But regardless, I could just see it has never happened. I think Tommy was just busy, does his thing. He's very just locked in on the moment, and if the interview's not going to be happening in that moment, it doesn't happen at that moment. But that doesn't relate at all to his training. I've seen him, when I spent time with him, I couldn't even keep up in terms of the training. Cardiovascular wise, his endurance was incredible. Training 3 times a day. So when it comes to putting in the work, he's doing it all.
I mean, we've been grinding in the gym day in and day out. And just, focusing on my diet. Obviously, I had to lose weight for this fight. But just training very hard.
What do you think when you hear that?
Tommy usually walks around 200 pounds, give or take a little under over, and he was, I think this fight is at 176 or something around there, and he was already on weight when I was there. So he lost the weight. He looks super lean. Looks like incredible boxing shape for sure.
I don't think he's working as hard as me. When you look at both of the camps, you can see that I'm surrounded with professional boxers and sparring professionals. And yeah.
I will say it's not a good idea to underestimate somebody, especially if they're not putting out footage purposely. They're not trying to show off something, or they're not trying to put a narrative out there. If anything, Tommy's trying to do the opposite, maybe bait Kenny into thinking this, That's what I would assume if someone's not showing a lot of their training. Tommy was just been training, and then when you don't train 24/7, you don't train for the entire 24 hours of the day. So the time that you're not doing that, you got leisure time. You can play Call of Duty. It's not going to be the end of the world. Even the best fighters and athletes play Call of Duty. So
just because you're not showing much, trying to be mysterious and doesn't mean I'm not training hard. Trust me, I'm training hard.
What do you mean?
What do you mean what I mean? As in not showing anything with your training.
Huh?
All right, at this point, this is Tommy just trolling. This is like super Temperrr vibe right here. I think Kenny's starting to catch on. I can't tell just yet, but I've seen that look on Tommy's face a million times. He's just trolling. I'll be there. I will say that with FaZe, it's crazy. I mean, when I fought on the undercard of Logan Paul and KSI 1, there wasn't much FaZe members out there. They literally couldn't because Apex had an event and they were all with him, and he wanted to be there too, but they just literally, I wanted to be with Apex as well and the guys, but because of the fight was that night, they couldn't be there. And with FaZe, there's so much going on. There's so many different things that are happening. And their collaborations are international and they're on such a high level. So I'm not sure what the guys are doing, but I'm looking forward to seeing who's there. I have not seen a lot of the guys in a very long time, many years. So that reunion in itself, I'm looking forward to a lot.
That's even worse. You're the founder of FaZe, and your own team didn't tell you they tried to buy Beta Squad.
No.
Okay, cool.
I heard other names, like other groups and stuff. I didn't hear Beta
You
Squad.
didn't hear Beta Squad?
No.
Yeah, okay, cool.
What we do know about
That's just an awkward exchange. I mean, Tommy is the founder. Lee Trink is the CEO. That's easily accessible information. But Tommy is involved in collaboration, stuff like that. I don't know too much details behind the scenes, but FaZe is a big organization now, and it's a company that's run by people who run companies. So, not surprised at all.
Have you competed in those martial arts before?
Not really. Just like some light sparring when I did Taekwondo back in the day.
And have you found that adaptation from what you've done previously to boxing? 'Cause as you say, boxing.
Some insight here. Obviously, Tommy and I had trained together for relatively a short period of time in terms of what most people would train in a martial art. But I think about 2 years, year and a half, 2 years, we trained at the school. He would take classes here in, regularly. He would take classes throughout the week, but never any competition. We would spar in class, but never like super hard sparring. It's all mainly technique stuff, and it's a karate kickboxing school based on what we teach. So that's where he kept his martial arts going. But he did Taekwondo as a kid, so he loved to kick. So actually, most of our time was spent on kicking because he loved kicking so much, and that was his strength. So when we would spar, that was his strength. So we kind of lean into your strength when it comes to sparring, especially when you're going to mix in other martial arts, other combat sports. But he did have that as a base. It wasn't like he's going into this and not knowing anything. That does make a big difference.
Nothing I've seen from him just now has fazed me at all, to be honest.
What do you mean?
Like, from your demeanor,
Phase up, no pun intended. Let's throw that in there.
from when you're answering all these questions, I don't feel like you're as confident as me. That's what I mean.
How'd you feel after getting pranked?
What are you talking about?
Do you get it or no?
After getting pranked?
Tommy does this to me all the time. He'll do it randomly at any point. He'll just start saying random things just to troll you. Actually, I'm not surprised he's doing it here at all.
What are you talking about? As in you're acting, or what?
Do you get it or no?
No, I don't. That's why I'm asking you.
What do you mean?
You asked me, how do you feel after you're getting pranked?
Huh?
Are you high? You just asked me, how do you feel after getting pranked?
Do you get it or no?
I just said no, so I said, explain. Am I speaking?
You've seen that video where that kid does that? He goes to like people like in a grocery store and like says like a weird joke and then asks him if he gets it or not. I think Tommy's just replicating this. This gives me like the 8x7 Logan Paul vibes right now. Just trying to throw him off. I think Tommy's just having fun with it. I don't think there's anything deeper than that. I don't think he's trying to have like some weird special ploy with it. It's just Tommy being Tommy.
Another language or what?
What do you mean?
Are you gonna answer, or are you just gonna sit there like the dry guy you are with no personality?
Oh, you're gonna knock some personality into me.
I don't understand how you're part of FaZe. You've got no personality at all.
I appreciate you.
Nah, for real.
A part of FaZe? This man started FaZe. What do you mean a part of FaZe? There is no FaZe. I mean, without Temperrr, what it is now. You know, he's the OG. Come on now, Kenny. Come on now.
Thank you. It's bigger than black and white. It's a problem with the whole way of life. But we can't change overnight. But we gotta start somewhere.
Okay.
Do you get it or no?
No.
So we've now sat here.
Calm, cool, and collected from both guys. Super happy to see Tommy out there. I'm already starting to feel the nerves because I'm going to be cornering him with Wally and one other guy, I believe. But yeah, I'm hyped. Let's go. On to see the workouts now. Open workouts. Let's see what these guys are made of. Oos.